Have you ever ran into a giant bomb with your flame flinger, or possibly even a Tesla? Well, in today's video, I'll show you how to be efficient with your test troops so you can have maximum value out of your flame flinger. Let's get to it. Okay, so here's going to be our very first base we're going to be taking a look at today. Now, I really want to briefly go and touch bases on how to be efficient with your testing troops for your flame flinger so that you get the maximum value out of it. So in this case, I like to always have barbarians for testing. I also like to have Sneaky Goblin, and I also like to use a Hog Rider to always test for that flinger. So if we look and take a look at this base, for example, we can just locate any possible trap location. So this right here is a huge gap for Tesla since it's 2 tiles apart, and it's also 4 tiles. So it's easy, a giant bomb and a Tesla there. This spot, and this spot right here, and lastly this spot right here could be any potential Teslas or giant bombs that could interact with your flinger. So a lot of the times people like to just ward and walk, let's say up here, and then they send their flinger at 12 right up top here, and basically let the flinger go all the way and take this town hall. But I'm going to do that a little differently here. The main purpose of the barbarian is to primarily just trip any outside giant bombs, or more importantly just to see if there's any Teslas. So what you're going to see is I drop like a barbarian here just to see if there's any Teslas that's sitting right here. But if there's not, then that's okay. And maybe I could use a Tesla, a barbarian here to see if there's any Teslas there. Now, as far as the sneaky goblin, I like to mainly try to target the inner elixir storage that's close to the town hall. That way, there's like if any traps here, such as giant bomb or Tesla, then that sneaky goblin's going to be able to take that. So not only it serves like a one way to pull any giant bombs, but it also pulls inner Tesla, such as right here or right above this warden. So how I do this is I'm gonna like essentially warden walk this top side at 12 o'clock. Once this expo locks on, I'm gonna send like the flinger right next to the warden so that it also assists the warden and speeds him up so he can get this expo down. Lastly, the hog. It's pretty important how you play the hog, just because if your sneaky goblin doesn't pull an initial trap like you're expecting, then the hog would be the ideal one to be pulling the last trap. So in this case here, I'm going to try to aim at the hog to target this warden tower, because once this flame flanger takes down the archer tower, then the cannon as well. Once the warden takes these down, or the flame flanger, I can just essentially send the hog roughly right here. It's going to path inwards and try to trip any potential Tesla or giant bomb that my sneaky goblin did not get. So without further ado, let's try to dive right into this replay so you can see how I was able to manage this. So I'm starting with the early warden walk at 12, like I said, just try to take initial damage. And I did the zap already. As you can see, the barbarian is down, and it does pull 2 Teslas, so that was really nice. And then I went ahead and dropped my flinger just because I want to kind of speed this warden walk up so that I can get the flinger to support that warden. So that time would not be an issue as well. So here we go. The archer does pull those 2 small bombs. And then I'm going to sneak my sneaky goblin in towards that inner elixir storage, as I mentioned, right when this elixir storage goes down. So here the storage does go down. Now the sneaky goblin is going to go to the inner storage. And here we go. We did pull a giant bomb. So that was really worth the sneaky goblin there. So here we go. I'm going to speed this up just a little bit. And now I'm going to play the hog, I believe, right when this expo does go down. So I'll take a look at that just to see if there's any last potential traps sitting there. But that giant bomb and that 1 Tesla to the left of that inner elixir storage was the main important one. So now the flinger is pretty safe to get the town hall. And then we're going to send the Titan Smash essentially in with the break and then jump to the core. And as you can see, the flinger is pretty much safe as it is locking onto the town hall at this point. So we're going to go ahead and kind of speed this up a little bit, since now that we know that flinger is getting the town hall, this should be pretty much a clean triple for us with the Titan Smash. So yep, those are important ways on how to go against those traps against the flame flinger, using barbs, sneaky, and a hog rider. I mean, it's not too expensive, but it's enough to get those potential traps that could be targeting your flame flinger. Okay, so we're back with our second replay of the day. Now, this one's a little kind of tricky. You may wonder, well, how are you going to flinger the town hall? Because the king is there. The king can potentially ruin your flinger. Well, there is a way to actually go against it, actually. So we're going to take a look at potential traps. First thing, I can see is like all this area right here could be filled with any potential trap. So, around that storage as well. So anywhere between this area could be here as well and could be here as well. So what I'm going to mainly do is, like I said, I always like to start with the barbarians first. And I'm just gonna do it like right here, to see if there's any Tesla here, and I'll also do it right here to see if any Teslas are there. So with that, I'm gonna also start my warden walk like roughly right here. I want to primarily tank this warden and tank this expo with the warden walk because you're gonna be able to see the warden, steps up right into here at this side to go for the air defense with the tower. That's when the expo locks on. Now, as far as playing the flinger, you kind of don't want to throw it right into the cannon range. So here's the cannon range. So outside of this radius, I'm gonna do like the cannon, the flinger, like roughly right here. So it shoots this. Now, as far as the hog, what I'm mainly going to do with this hog is once this building and this building is down, I'm going to be able to send the hog straight shot into this wizard tower. And look, it's going to be able to trip anything that's sitting here, anything sitting there, and anything that's sitting here. That's the main reason why I didn't have to really use a sneaky goblin, just because like, if the sneaky goblins where if the warden were to take this down, the sneaky goblin would go here and not actually anywhere that serves a purpose to test for the flinger. So that's why, kind of taking advantage, starting your warden early, starting your flinger early, and then kind of using that last delayed hog to maximize that value to test for the flinger. So let's get into the replay so we can take a look at how this was executed and how this was done. And so a lot of the times people, when they first see a mortar there, a king there, primarily the king sitting there, they don't want to go with the classic style of flinger the town hall. So you're going to see how I do it. There's the warden down here are both barbarians down. And once this expo locks on and that mortar, that's when I'm gonna start this flinger. So here's the flinger exactly as I said. And I'll drop that one archer as you saw to kind of just see if there's a Tesla sitting there that I could put my flinger there. So here we go. I'll speed this up just by 1x. Now the hog, look at this. It's gonna go all the way exactly to where I needed. So that's like really worth the hog. Since there's no traps, I know this is gonna be pretty clear. And I'm now just gonna start my wall breaker to try to get my smash in. Now, I am going to kind of leave this expo up, but not entirely take it down with the water walk, just so that I can get my flinger to path towards that expo so that it can stay outside of this king range. So here we go. We're going to go ahead and send the smash in. The king is already coming up at the top. And then we're just going to classic style jump through the core, and this should be safe. So here you go. You can see this flinger and how it's going to stay outside of the radius of the king. So just some important things on how to drop your flinger. If you see a mortar, an expo, and a king there, don't always be afraid to, because you can always still make the flinger happen just by outplaying it, basically. So here we go. The smash is moving through the core. At this point, once the flinger gets to town hall, this back end should be fairly safe since I have titans on the eagle. I have titans in the core with my queen. So that should be pretty good. We're just going to go ahead and speed this up just since we already saw the result of our flinger. You see the flinger did get the job done and get the maximum value that I needed out of it. Even though that there was a mortar, there was an expo, and there was a king in the radius there. So here we go. Easy triple on the board just like that. And let's dive to our very next replay. All right, and we are back with the third replay of the day. Now, this is something different, but it's not a box base. However, it's going to be a diamond base, essentially. So the first thing, what I'm noticing, the king is there. So I kind of did want to warden walk there, and there's a ground expo here as well. So if I were to do any kind of flinger there, then, that ground expo could potentially ruin it. Now, as far as the town hall wise, there's two borders. Yes, you could do it, but the Zap value around that is really not the best. So, what I first noticed is this Zap value right here for these three buildings. So, once we take that with the Zap, then we have an easy flinger for the scatter. So, you may ask, how do I flinger it? Because there's an archer tower, there's a cannon that could literally shoot the flinger. So what my primary goal is just like start my warden walk, I think roughly here, kind of grab the attention of the archer tower, grab this cannon, and alongside of taking that mortar. So that's what I'm going to do with the warden walk is primarily just, be able to tank, absorb the cannon, the archer tower, and the mortar. So if I were to drop like a flinger here, it would be pretty safe. Now we first take a look at trap locations that could potentially ruin the flinger. It would be basically served right along here anything above there could potentially be traps that could hurt our flinger, and likewise, what's in between here and here as well. So first thing is first, barbarians. That's what I'll usually like to do. So barbarian testing purposes, I'm gonna class basically do it right here just to see what's in between these two defenses, and I'm also gonna do one up 12 just to see what's sitting up the top here because my warden's already gonna be able to pull anything that's here or here. So that's why I did the two barbarians there to see if there's anything here and sitting there. Flinger is essentially going to try to be outside of this cannon. So yeah, roughly here instead of there. So roughly here to shoot this cannon. And then I'm going to send my Hog Rider once this cannon down and the Ultra Tower, Wizard Tower is down. This Hog Rider is going to go all the way in here to pull any giant bomb. So this Flinger is going to be able to get all this top side, and that's the easy way to kind of, use the warden to kind of tank those initial defenses. And then you can just drop your flinger right behind the warden. So it assists the warden to speed him up. And then, the flinger should be safe afterwards. So let's dive into the replay and just see how I was able to manage and get this done. So you're going to see I started out with the zap. Now, primarily zap the ground expo because if I could do the same thing on the other side and walk the king and flinger, but I wouldn't get as much value just because it was a ground expo. So as you saw, I went ahead and dropped the two barbarians, one up here right there and one right there just to see if there's any Teslas. I did pull two Teslas right here and right there, so that's already a good sign. I went ahead and started my flinger just, kind of support the warden and, speed this up. So I'm going to go ahead and, fast forward this just so we can see how we played the Hog Rider. Now the Hog Rider, I really wanted to just, sink it in here to see if there's anything just sitting in this area right here. Yep, and here we go. The Hog Rider's coming in. It did pull another Tesla, so that's just one additional more value I'm going to get with my Flinger. So outside of the Flinger, we got the Smash rolling in. Now, this entry is pretty, safe. The jump gets me basically everything in the base. The King got the Town Hall, which I did not expect. But the RC is coming in at 6 now. And as you can really just see, this Flinger is just getting a lot of value because it literally took out the Scatter. It's going to be able to take out all the Teslas and basically get and land on this Air Expo as well for me. So that's really nice at the end, just kind of taking advantage. Even though there was outside defenses that could ruin the Flinger, this is just taking advantage by using your Warden to tank the initial damage and then dropping your Flinger to assist that Warden. That is going to be another triple right here, being able to take advantage of the Zap value and then the Flinger value. Let's hop on to our last replay. All right, we're back with our last replay of the day. Now, this is just something, different than the ones I've already shown, like the classic ones. I just wanted to show like how to do it opposite Flinger. So essentially, I'm going to take advantage of what's given to me. And, the first thing that's stood out to me was this Zap value right here. So it could be either side, whatever side you want it to go, whether it's queen, the right side, or the left side. It doesn't matter, really. So what I'm going to do, essentially, is start my warden walk, here to just pick off these defenses. And, I also am going to want to walk this RC. Now, as far as the Flinger play, I'm going to Flinger the scatter shot from here. Now, some people are usually always worried about this mortar being the problem of it, but I this really wouldn't be too much of a problem because if you just toss it at this kind of an angle, you can get the splash damage to kill the mortar off of that scatter shot. So as far as trap locations, let's go through a couple of them. I mean, we got some that could potentially be, right up here. We got some that could be here, and then we got some that could be here, like Teslas that could potentially hurt the Flinger. Now, I wasn't necessarily too concerned about using like a hog test just because my Flinger would only need to stay like right here, right around behind this gold mine to shoot the scatter shot. So I wouldn't necessarily be inside of this dead zone, but pulling the Tesla to see if there's anything there would also be nice because that's just more value for my Flinger. Now, barbarian wise, we're just gonna do the classic way. I'm just gonna drop it here, and I'm also gonna drop it here just to see if there's like anything that's trap wise sitting there that could like ruin my Flinger since my warden's gonna be here taking these initial damage and not right here. So that's just basic. I'm gonna just do two barbarians. I don't think I'm gonna use a hog or a sneaky because there's nothing that it's gonna serve me purpose that tests what's right here because there's not room for a Tesla right there. There's not room for a giant bomb there. So that's why I think the Flinger was pretty safe. And for this particular Flinger, it was just pathing and funneling since, one walking this right here and Flinger this. And then if you just essentially you can just send your smash towards the eagle, like into here, and get a break into there. And, smash is gonna go and you just jump like this. And then, play the king to go right here with your witches to go into the scatter shot. If you just like use your sneakies there, the funnel. King kills the queen, and then you can just RC whenever basically. But without further ado, nothing to get too much into about the smash since we're primarily focused on the flinger. So let's get into the replay and kind of see how this flinger works. So as you can see, there's the mortar radius there, right there, and how far it could shoot. So like I said, the flinger roughly, once it gets to there, once it gets here, it's going to be able to shoot that outside of the range. So here you go, the two barbarian. The first one pulled a Tesla, the second one does pull one as well. So that's really, really nice. So as you can see, this RC is kind of like dying from the flinger splash. So that's real, like kind of the poison effect of that flinger. So that's really one reason why, some people don't know about, but that's one reason why I kind of take advantage of it. And, the flinger poison and my warden shooting at it, it's just double team, tag team to kill this RC, what kind of speeds it up. So here's the flinger going towards the scatter shot now. It's barely out of range, but like I said, you're going to be able to see here, the splash from the scatter is going to be able to take this mortar down. As you can see, that splash from that Tesla is already doing damage to that mortar. So here we go. Outside of the flinger, like I said, it was basically for pathing. That's all it was doing, just for that scatter shot and that RC. Anything else was a bonus. So here we go. The smash is going to rolling in. I'm just going to speed that up since that's not really the thing we're focused on. King, which is already going in. We get the flinger still moving in. Here are the skellies on the flinger, but at that point, it really didn't matter since I already got the value I needed. So the RC is coming in at 12. As you can see, the smash is essentially clear the entire way to the Town Hall comp. And, that's why I sent the RC there since, Flinger cleared that whole bottom side. It got the funneling and cleaning done early for me to just send the RC basically up there to clear that top side. So, yep, that was a way how to take down this base using a flinger, kind of inside of a hero while there's a mortar there. So that's one technique to kind of, take advantage of when you're given the zap value. All right, and that's a wrap on today's video. I hope you guys learned some tips and tricks on how to be more efficient when it comes to using your touch troops for your flinger. Make sure you guys go subscribe and give this video a like if you found these tips helpful. And also, feel a comment down below what you guys would like to see in the next video by me. But until then guys, I'll catch you all in the very next one. Ghost out.